Oh, hi everyone. I'm Willem,
I'm Tim.
and this is Hear Me Out Pitch. Oh, well, holy crap, everyone. By the time y'all are listening to this, it's gonna be spoopy weekend, getting ready for Halloween for next Tuesday. Holy crap. Hopefully you all are getting ready. You are all being safe and making good choices, and y'all are just enjoying all the candy and all the scares.
Dad, I hope you're enjoying your Halloween decorations that I still haven't come over to see.
Oh.
I feel a little guilty.
Dad, if you have decorations up, I hope they're amazing. And sadly, I won't be able to see them, but I hope you're loving them. It is a day, and
That is what this is. That's
it
how time
that is
works.
how time works. It do be do like that.
Indubitably.
Doobie doobie doo ba doo.
Oh goodness.
Indubitably. It's such a
Indubitably.
indubitable. Oh man, I gotta warm up the cheeks here for that word. Random thing from Willem, because we always like to start with a random thing. I am terrified to make a new Spider-Man movie, like the sequel. Another one for for. Oh my goodness,
You guys remember the episode where or the two episodes Willem gave us his pitch for the Spider-Man movie?
I'm not going back.
I'm not either.
Oh,
It's
good,
not happening.
good. It was Siren. Sorry.
Eh,
Yeah. I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to make up a movie after I got done being Spider-Man all weekend with Sony's Amazing Spider-Man 2, because it is one of my favorite games right now. It was so good. The story was great. Amazing take on Venom and a few other things. I won't spoil it for anyone out there, but the story of Venom was so well done. I was very happy. Exactly what we were talking about of what emotions to feel, and they knew exactly what their audience wanted. There are a few things that some people are nitpicky about. There's a few other things that people don't agree with, but other than that, I give it a solid 4.5 out of 5 easily. 9 out of 10. Love it.
that's pretty high rating for a video game
It
these
was
days.
fun.
It's hard to get a game that rated that high these
Well,
days.
I am a man who loves a good story game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play a good Bloodborne, not Bloodborne, Souls type game every now and then because I just want to throw my controller across the room in rage. We all just want to do that. Go play video games. It's relaxing. Just throw it.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
If you're gonna try to relax with video games, do not play a Souls game.
No, do not.
Do
Do
not.
not. If you're angry at the world, do it. You just get done with the gym, you go play a Souls game, you will be ready to fight anything. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
no, but I do like. I think that's probably why I stick with PlayStation. Random opinion of mine is
Mm-hmm.
Sony probably is the master of story-driven games.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I will say, I in my personal opinion, Nintendo has the best family games,
Yes.
plus Zelda, best video game series ever, in my opinion.
No, it's a
Um,
good series. I love the
those are
story.
really those are really story driven. If you like those, you've got to play Skyward Sword if you haven't already.
I have.
Okay, good.
I've
If
played. I don't know. I tried
Mhm.
again. I tried with Breath of the Wild, and I couldn't. I
It's
have watched videos. I
different.
know the story. I love the story. I think Legend. I well, wow. I think Link and Zelda are adorable, and I'm so glad that they're fine. The fan animations I've been watching of people making stuff about them. Just one about Zelda singing while she's petting a dog, and Link walks up and hears her singing, and she gets all embarrassed. I'm like,
Hmm.
or that one metal artwork I showed you
Uh-huh.
with um the bodies of Link and Zelda. It's cute.
Yeah, it hits the feels for sure.
Good. I'm glad you like that one. Oh, but yeah. We definitely will. I definitely want to talk about a few video games someday on here. I think we'll do.
Yeah.
I'm planning one day that we just go through movies that are just there's just a few things we would list, like maybe like a list of 10 small things in a movie. Because there are some movies
Yeah,
that I'm like, I didn't like this. I wish they changed this. This movie, blah blah blah. Same with some video games. I'm like, wah. So
there's a
we'll have to do
lot
that
of
someday.
those.
A lot. There's a
Well, and
lot.
I think we could probably get to the point where we're also making our own video game, like a
Oh,
story for a video game, maybe mechanics and stuff. I think that would be a lot of fun.
we will have to.
Workshop that for a long time.
Yes, I need to get a few. I need to study up on a few terms and analogies, and I don't know. There's a lot of things I would love
Mm.
for this podcast. I would love for full on cast readings of movies we've come up with someday. Just a full on script reading
Yeah.
someday. Like it'll be fun. But that's for 6 months from now. I'm just kidding. We're being hopeful, but
Hopeful.
we will see what happens. So far, this is just something we do for fun and for a lonely man in his apartment to have something fun to do during the week. So don't have pity on me. Be happy for me.
You can't tell people to not have pity on you after you make a statement like that.
Well, good thing I have good neighbors, so it's all good.
And,
Anyway,
and you've got me.
that's. Wait a minute, Tim.
I mean, I've broken into your. You gave me a key. I've broken into your apartment a handful of times to sabotage you.
I got mugged by Nerf bullets one day.
It
was
wasn't
wonderful.
mugged. It was assaulted.
It was bombarded. I was oh goodness, what are their names? Bonnie and Clyde. Y'all just Bonnie and Clyde me, man. Just bust through. I was like, "Ah!" I was even editing. Nah, I wasn't really editing. I was getting ready for, I don't even know what I was doing. Anyway, business at hand. There you go. That's, ooh, 7 minutes. 7 minutes of dilly-dallying. They were doing better.
Yeah,
So we're going to get right to it now. What are we, I've been so excited for this for over a month, a little over a month.
Yeah,
I've been
it's been over a
talking
month.
about this, and sadly, it got away from me some weeks, so I didn't get as much dedication as I want. But I think it's going to be a good time.
I agree. Before we have our grand reveal,
Ooh,
I need to ask the audience, when you hear your favorite Halloween movie, what movie is that? Is it Scream? Is it Psycho?
ugh.
Is it Monster House?
That's a good one.
Is it Frankenweenie? Is it Nightmare Before Christmas?
That's a Christmas movie.
It's both.
Fine.
Is it Corpse Bride?
That's a good
Right?
one.
There's a lot of really, really good Christmas movies.
Halloween.
Halloween movies. Same thing.
Whoa,
It's not
whoa,
the
whoa,
same. It's
whoa.
not the same thing.
Same, but
But
different.
you know what I mean. Anyway, there's a lot of really good Halloween movies out there. Right? So I want you to think about your favorite Halloween movie and just imagine for a moment, what would a sequel to that movie look like? Take Corpse Bride, for example. How would you write a sequel to Tim Burton's Corpse Bride? I'm sure my wife has suggestions for that. How would you write a sequel to Frankenweenie? Paranorman, Monster House.
The movies that honestly don't seem to really have a chance for a sequel, like movies that are hard, because Paranorman, which I love, and I kind of mentioned it a few days ago, unless I would love for sequels to start being based off the bad ending of the movie. I would love to see a Paranorman who he is killed by the people of his town, and Agatha moves on because she goes, ha, someone else feels my pain. I can move on. And Norman becomes the new witch's curse. But he's worse, and he literally just starts a zombie plague. Just something like that. Like, the thing is, I'm pretty morbid when it comes to it. Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie Boogie takes over. Like, so many things I could think of. Corpse Bride, Victor is killed. And do him and Emily get a happily ever after? Do they, or is it different than that? What happens when Victoria dies? Like, there's so many. Is his name Victor and her name
Yes.
Victoria?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've seen that movie so many times, more than I can count, but I'm sitting here going, really?
Hmm.
So Victor and Victoria. All right, cute. But yeah, so many bad endings, especially with like Leica Studio. We have all those movies, Kubo and the Two Strings. What if he decided to go with his grandfather? Box Trolls. What if the trolls got killed? In the missing link, I don't care about. But then you have the big one, Coraline.
Yep. Coraline, I think, is probably my favorite Halloween movie.
It's up there with me too.
It's a really good one. And if you haven't figured it out yet, that's the movie we're covering.
Ooh.
We are not rewriting Coraline.
No.
I want to make this clear. We love Coraline. Coraline is, in my opinion, it's a perfect movie on its own.
Yeah.
There's nothing I would change.
I can't.
It's it's just
And
great.
we're talking about the movie
Yes.
because we've done a lot of reading, looking up. I've watched many videos. I've gone over the book. I've been listening to the book.
My wife read the entirety of the book while we were watching the movie last night.
And it was awesome. She finished it
Had
after.
some really good insights.
It was really cool to get the insights. And we'll talk more about kind of some thoughts we had. But this is a sequel to the Leica Studios movie of Coraline. So
Yes.
everything that, if any of you listening have read the book, everything that's different from the book and the movie will still remain that way. So think of it as, for those of you who love Stephen King, we have The Shining and Doctor Sleep. You have the movie version and the book version of both those platforms. You have The Shining book, The Shining movie. Seen both. Love both. Shining book, way worse. Way worse. Doctor Sleep, the sequel about Jack's son. He, well, I don't know where I was going with that. Book entirely different than the new movie that came out, Doctor Sleep. It's loosely based off of it, but they're two different entities, but you can love them separately. This to me is an example of a book and a movie you can love separately.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Aragon. I'm just kidding.
No. Aragon, the movie Aragon can burn and disappear. Shut up. Be quiet.
Even just as the movie.
On its own,
It's
I can't
bland.
separate it though.
And I think you got to learn to. That's what this is we're
I
talking
know,
about.
I know. I just ugh.
I'm gonna
We're not talking about Aragon.
fine. But my last example of that is Ready Player One.
Okay.
Read the book, went and watched the movie in theaters. I love them both. Because again, legality of what you can put in a movie, we can do that. I accepted all that.
Mhm.
I went and saw the movie, and it still kept the feel of nostalgia. It kept the feel of the book, changed some things to move the plot forward. Made one change that I was like, meh, but I really did enjoy it. I definitely would have. If one thing I would have made is that the two main characters, never meet in real life until the very end of the book. Like they do not see each other until the very end of the book. Spoilers, sorry, but I would have probably kept that for the movie. But they had to anyway. So, sequel for Coraline. This is a big one, and
Mhm.
again, I was really excited, and I hope we do a good job.
I hope so too. And if you guys have ideas of maybe how this movie could go, tell us.
Yeah, email us hearmeoutpitch@gmail.com. Again, hearmeoutpitch@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys. I don't think I've got an email yet, so get on that. Just kidding. Yeah, this is a big thing to tackle, and we were really excited. And me and Tim, honestly, in the beginning, we had way different ideas, but I slowly
Mhm.
realized that my take of a sequel is definitely for the book. So I think that might either be a future episode, or maybe we will make it something that people need to. Maybe that could be something people need to subscribe for, or something. So
Yeah, maybe if we get so many emails and hit 1,000.
no, no.
By that time, we might be in October next year.
1,000?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm like,
I mean,
dude.
with the way that we're
Oh,
going, we're what 5 months in, and
yeah, doing good. Just got to
yeah,
keep.
we're doing good.
We're doing good. Anyway, wow, we are keep zoning out.
Yeah,
I will edit. I'll
sorry.
edit this a little bit out. Well, we're excited to go on this little journey. Sorry for all the technical difficulties and spastic moments. So, wow, where do we even begin? Do we just start right off? Okay, how about
I'm
this?
gonna start with the name.
Okay,
So in Coraline, there the whole thing is like the whole premise of the movie is there is this other world that Coraline goes into, like almost like a demi-plane. In that other world, um, there is a woman who is known as the Other Mother, or the Beldam. A little bit later, we find out that that's what the kids call her. There's Other Father, there's the Other Wybie, all of that. And so, taking that into account for this movie, spoiler alert, the Other Mother is going to be the bad guy again.
what?
It just felt like the safest and probably the easiest thing to do. It also made the most sense to me, um, because she's still out there. She didn't die,
No,
right? She's still there. Um, so the title for this movie is Coraline, the Other, but Willem had a really fun idea with the title of the movie, um, taking Coraline, right, written out normal with the button for the O, and then the other appearing after that above it. So it's the other Coraline
line.
for reasons that we'll get into later. But it's clever, cool, and the name itself fits, I think, with what we're trying to do. If you guys have ideas of what maybe the name could actually be, let us know. Again, email us, DM us, whatever. Make a comment on a Facebook post or on Instagram or whatever.
We can do plugs whenever we want. It's
This
our podcast. Dang it!
is our show.
It's our show. Oh yeah, so the other Coraline, or Coraline the Other, however you want to say it. That's the clever part of the other will appear last, but the official title will be the other Coraline.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal of this is that Coraline once again needs to fight the other, whether you want to call that the Beldam or the world itself. The other is, I love the use of the word the other, whether it be the book or the movie. The other is just so ominous
Mm-hmm.
because doppelgangers are terrifying. If someone said, I saw the other Willem today, I'd be like, ha ha, ah.
So Chris Evans.
Oh, stop it. I do no. First off, stop. Tim. Just kidding. But we want this to be another instance with the Beldam, but also I wanted this movie to grow up with us. Many of you who are listening watch this movie and we've grown up with it. I think a poor example of a movie of a company who likes to just start the movie where it left off is Pixar. I understand Finding Dory. I understand that one. But Incredibles,
We waited 14 years.
and it just started right back off.
Yeah. And it should have grown up with us. I would have liked, we'll hit this movie later.
Anyway, we will talk about that
We
another
will talk
day.
about it.
Ooh, yeah. So again, it was movies make a sequel. We don't grow up with it. This movie is going to be very different because I still want Dakota Fanning to play Coraline. Dakota Fanning's about my age. I believe she's 28, 29. I want her to voice Coraline. I want Coraline to be the main character. And I want her to be a freshly new mom. I was thinking in my version of it being a toddler, but I think Tim's version of it being an infant is, ooh,
It'll hit a little more close to home, I think. the idea that we had was that Coraline and Wybie are married and they have a little girl. I've been thinking all day, and I can't think a I can't think of the perfect name for the
I thought
child.
of one.
Oh,
Okay, but don't. It's twisted.
oh no,
Buttons.
Buttons. I that's
Again, it was the name that made me go, oh, that would be so twisted.
uh oh my goodness.
And my reasoning is I if they did do that, like, why buttons? And Coraline's just like, I always dream about it. But I get it. It's not.
I think Buttons would work better. They named the cat
I was about to say, I'm like, that could
Buttons.
work too.
I think they named the cat Buttons. I think the kid should have a normal name
I know.
and
I
one
know.
that's not twisted and gonna make me cry.
Because she's cute as a button.
Uh
Or with that being said, I was thinking of, oh, we'll get to that. Because put that in your back pocket about her being named Buttons. So,
mhm.
but really quick, with the beginning of this movie, I was thinking to start with the origin of the Beldam. And we kind of discussed how, and it would just be really quick. It would lead to the intro title, but it would just be that the Beldam was once a woman, hinting at being a witch, who loved children very much. And whether she actually was a witch or killed them, she is just being convicted of children going missing, even though she loved them dearly. We'll let the audience decide what had happened. Either way,
Mhm.
kind of like with Paranorman, just the witch hunt began. She fell down the well, the
Mhm.
same well her hand got thrown down, but it would just be this tragic opening scene of her going like, the villagers are around her like, our children go missing, or our children don't feel safe with you, or you play these strange games with our children. And, I imagine her being a little older, like an older woman. And
Okay.
she's like, I just wanted children of my own. She's just a spinster and just wanted her own children. I imagine her being tall, that look. And they chase her and she falls down the well and we just hear her scream. And I just imagine like either her hands just get grotesque. But
I'm kind of imagining, we have that bit and then we have a little sequence of watching her transform over time.
mm,
Um
and then it can show Coraline at the end and because we talked about the hand
mhm.
going down the well as the final part of the movie, and then there's the
Yes.
opening to Coraline because the well is the O.
Mhm.
The hand falls down the well, and we're looking up. We're looking up, and we see the sky of stars with the top of the well. Coraline appears, and then a button turns over the O, and then we kind of back up from the well, and Tim kind of had an interesting way just to.
I'm imagining, that sequence happens and we watch maybe a quick flashback or something to the end of of Coraline when they throw the hand down the well. I'm imagining they walk away and then we hear a hand kind of crawling up the side of the well. You hear it. You don't see it, but you hear it, kind of thing. Just to kind of get your gears turning and get you wondering, kind of creep you out a little bit because that sound
It's
is
the
gonna creep you
hand.
out. Uh huh.
It's the we want that hand to just be in the back because we all think about that hand from Coraline. I
Yep.
do all the time. Every time I watch Coraline, I need to like double check my bedroom. Like
Mm-hmm.
I kid you not, guys. Last night, getting ready for bed, I had to like I just was getting ready to take a shower, and I just hear the, and I was like, whoa, no, that was in my head.
I'm not gonna lie. I was so tempted at like it was like 11:45 or so, and I was sitting there in bed, and I was like, how mean it would be if I just went up to Willem's door and I just ran my fingers along the door and ran away.
I would fight
I
you.
was I thought about it, but then I didn't
I'd
because
probably be in my room at that point. Probably wouldn't hear it, or I'd just be like, and
I
just
mean I
like,
didn't leave here until like 11:40 or 11:15.
that's true. Was it really? No, it's just like 11. I don't know. All right,
Yeah, but my
whatever.
wife left
Yeah, she did.
because she was tired.
She's like, I gotta go. I got work tomorrow. I'm like, me too. Anyway, so after we hear that hand scuttle, I imagine Coraline and YB walking up to the Pink Palace with
Mhm.
their brand new baby girl, whose name we
Is
have
to
not
be
determined.
determined.
Honestly, I kind of like the idea they haven't named her yet. I think that the end of the movie was going to be the big name. That was a thing I was thinking about. That's scribbles.
Okay.
But because some that happens to some couples, they don't have a name right off the bat. And I do want something
That's true.
like I want something like Coraline, something unique and different. And I can relate to Coraline so much with having the name Willem. Willem. Very different. Most people hear it and they go, William? I'm like, no, Wilhelm? No, I got a wallop once. I've told that story.
Yes.
Good gravy. So I definitely would like that name. And YB, having a name like Yborn, they do need a unique name. So Buttons would definitely be out of the table, but I don't want it to be out of the movie just yet. So
No. I do want the I really want the cat's name to be Buttons.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking of when we
Mhm.
get to it. So Coraline and YB are going to go visit the Pink Palace. Wyborn's grandmother has passed away. Wyborn has taken over he's taken over the family business. There's so many things we can plug in here. We're not here to make up everything. Maybe we'll do like a big script reading of it someday, but the point being, they are a young couple. Coraline is just like her parents, does cataloging, and also loves going on adventures. Like she travels to learn more about vegetation. She has become a beautiful floral designer. She like does weddings, whatever. Works with her parents, works on the catalogs. They work on more vegetables and stuff, but Coraline works on the flora, like building, and even is trying to research in making her own flowers, that sort of thing. So that's how I imagine them. YB is just, I don't know what YB does. They never really gave us a lot. Fun fact about YB, he is not in the book, but he is just a way for the audience to know what Coraline is thinking and going through. So that was the point of YB. Anyway, Pink
Mhm.
Palace. Sadly, the old women, Miss, gosh,
Miriam
M- Miriam and
and I don't remember.
their Miss, oh gosh,
It's in the book. You got the book right
I
there.
do got the book right now. So sadly, I was gonna have them passed away, but I really imagine either one of the dogs. They still have one more dog living that is being taken care of by Coraline's parents who live in the home, or they've kept a few of the stuffies, something like that. But they have their
Mhm.
posters everywhere in the room. I imagine Coraline's parents are just a little older, but they're at the front door welcoming them, they're hugging them, and they're talking about some ideas for the catalog, whatever, what have you. I want it to be as simple as possible. We didn't really get a lot in the movie.
Yeah.
It was just they did this, they did that. Same thing with Coraline and Wybie.
I
Wah,
mean
wah.
it's in a sense it's almost relatable.
Yeah.
It makes them relatable in a way.
Yes.
I'm imagining that their gravestones has a statue of the dogs
Yeah.
on top. Maybe they have like a little mausoleum on the property and the mausoleum's just made of the dogs.
Aw. Maybe so I imagine they're greeting everyone
Mhm.
and then they're greeting the parents, and then we hear this old Russian voice like Coraline, and we see old man Mr. Bobinski, just as tall as ever, but
Mhm.
crouched now. And she's like, "You better not be jumping down, Mr. B. Your knees can't take it anymore." He's like, "I am amazing that I am. I can do it." And like goes to like do like a handstand on the railing, and like back cracks. Okay, you're right. And slowly walks down the stairs, and
Uh,
he's got one of the mice on his. We're finally seeing the jumping mice, and they actually look like the mice that we saw in the other world. They're adorable and they're all
Hmm.
like trained. It's really cute. But I just imagine him coming up like Coraline, Master Wybie, like things like that, and talking. And he goes, and the little one, my goodness, look how small and squishy it is. Like just things like that. And like, what's his name? And they're like, ooh. And mom gets all upset. You haven't thought of a name? Oh, Dad, did you know my name right off the bat? And they parents look at each other. Well, we did. We're gonna name you Caroline, but we accidentally. Your dad got so nervous and spelled the name wrong. What?
That that would be funny.
So, and Wifey's like, yeah, I would do so. He's like, we don't have good luck with our names. Yeah. Oh, we know. Wyborn. Yeah.
Yep.
So, oh, Miss Spink, and Miss Forcible. Those are
Yes.
their names. So, meet and greet. Jumping mice are awesome. We're just getting a big remembrance of that. And then, mom mentions, you should go visit our lovely ladies. They would definitely love to meet the baby. Like, okay, we'll do that. And then we cut to them at the graveyard. And, they're telling the stories like this one was blind as a bat, and this one really loved toffee. Like, just things like that. Just something really cute. So, just want to get that feel. And I imagine that little doo 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 doo, the song that
Uh-huh.
Coraline is walking around to. And I'm sorry, you'll have to listen to my terrible tunes. Deal with it. I'm just kidding. Oh, I just want to build how the Pink Palace is amazing. And I did suggest we paint it blue, but I think the Pink Palace would be cute. I imagine it
Mhm.
looking so good, bright.
I'm imagining it looks the way that the
Other
other
mother,
mother made it look.
and that's the irony.
Yeah.
Oh.
But this is real and it actually.
If they took care of it. The tree that fallen over is gone. The flowers are everywhere. It looks good. It looks like people who actually care for vegetation actually did it. And it looks amazing. Even in Oregon. Like even the sky could still be gray, but it's just bright down below. And
Mhm.
it's just nice. It just shows that Coraline made her other world a reality.
She
Oh,
made she made the perfect world a
she
reality.
made what she made as perfect as she could get it.
Yeah.
And she learned to be happy with that. But I do imagine that time and again throughout these little instances of the beginning, we just hear the scuttering.
Hmm.
Maybe even when they're visiting the graveyard, the fog rolls in, and we just hear Coraline, just and just she always hears it, just always terrified. I've been rambling too much, Tim. Give me something.
Well,
Give me
I've
something.
been trying to find good names, and I think one that we could do is Cadence. I don't know how we would change it to be weird.
Clarence. I'm just kidding.
Clarence.
I think the
I
baby
don't know.
not having the name until the end is good.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do imagine the cat is definitely visiting. Like as the
Yeah.
baby rolls up, the cat's sitting there, and I imagine he has a little bit of white, but yet he still looks healthy.
Wife of Frankensteining it.
Kind of. Kind of. Like there's something off about the cat still. Like, "Ugh, how is he still alive? It's been
Hmm.
15 plus years. Oh my gosh. No, this movie's going to be 15. No. Yes. It's going to be 15 next year. That's not right. That is right. Jeez Louise.
What I want to see for the next 10, 15 minutes of the movie, maybe even 20. It's a really long time, but I think it might work. Um,
We've already done about a half an hour here.
that's true. Well, no.
Beginning is a good 5. Opening credits is like 3. This bit, I imagine, is about 10. Okay, so let's say 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how far we've gone.
Well, and I'm imagining we see this 10 to 10 minutes that we have at the beginning. I'm imagining extending it a little bit more
Okay.
and maybe adding in a couple scenes where we see maybe some flashbacks, some nightmares, Coraline having some
I
nightmares
do
and
want there to
stuff.
be nightmares.
I'm also imagining like we see, I don't know.
So what I could imagine for how the nightmares take place is they keep sneaking in on us as the audience.
Mm-hmm.
As so, what I imagine, and we'll kind of spoil it, is that nightmares are going to keep happening, but at one moment, she's going to think it's a nightmare, and then something will reveal to her. We're getting a little Inception-y here.
I'm I I'm having a similar idea.
So, constantly having nightmares, Coraline is just, and she's been having them for years, but they're getting worse for some reason. Because, anyway, but then at one point in the movie, something will reveal to her that
Mm-hmm.
no, this is the other world. So, how I imagine the first nightmare to be is, she's holding the baby in the graveyard and here's the scurrying. So the scurrying is what will trigger like the nightmare sequence. And we'll have her talking and showing it. The fog will roll in. And at one point they're talking and she keeps asking why be a quit. Like they're having a cute conversation. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
about, what was that name you just said? What
Cadence.
about Cadence? No. And YB keeps saying no, and then they keep going back and forth with names. What about Maria? No. What about Anne Marie? No. That's the same name. No, it's not. And they're like arguing. What about Maria? No. Like they just keep going back and forth. And I know I said Mary type names like 5 times, whatever. They're whatever.
Simple, common
But I
names.
imagine them going back and forth. And at one point, she starts bouncing names off. And it's just Coraline bouncing names off. And she goes, YB? YB? And it turns and he's got the wires in his cheeks. And she
Mm-hmm.
wakes up in her bed. So that sort of thing. And she turns and he's got button for eyes and he's like, and he can't talk and he's got the wires in and then bam.
You mean the stitches?
Stitches, yeah. Well, it's like if you watch when they pull it out, it's a wire.
I imagined it was stitches.
Hmm.
It looks
Oh.
I I I don't know.
Well, and she pulled, I don't know. Either way, the wire, the
Mm-hmm.
stitching, that's what I imagine. And you could either have them have button eyes, you can maybe even have one eye be a button. Just something terrifying that she looks over and he's just because that part in Coraline where she rips the mask off and he's like, yeah, I hate that,
Mm-hmm.
hate that part. So I imagine that's nightmare number one, and she like reaches over, touches the baby, and they're fine. Now this little fluff part of in between, I don't know what to do. I don't know if whether we're just having Coraline gardening, petting the cat. Because if we think about the movie, the first movie of Coraline, I really liked how it was broken up compared to the book. We had these instances of her being in the other world,
Mm-hmm.
small instance of her being in the real world. Other world, small instance. And so we're kind of,
Well, and it bounces between like it's a mirror almost.
yeah.
So I'm imagining maybe right before that first nightmare, they're actually bouncing names off each other,
Yeah.
and then the second between the first and the second nightmare, they're doing something. I don't know what you have in mind for the second one.
The second nightmare was Coraline. It was the one I mentioned last night of a baby crying in a crib.
Right.
A baby crying in a crib.
Right.
And we see Coraline's hands come down and pick up the baby. She goes, oh, my sweet baby. And she starts singing that song that Coraline sings at the well.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I should have looked up the
Well,
words.
yeah.
But she's singing that lullaby, and then the hands change into the Beldam's hands,
Uh-huh.
and the baby like opens its eyes, and we as the audience look up and we see this twisted, demented version of Coraline, my sweet baby, and then again another nightmare, just rah, and it's just getting worse. Something is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be this ominous fear of like, and yeah, it's what I want. I want there to have these nightmares. Coraline has never gotten over it, and YB and her are kind of like, oh. So now the thing is, what is going to cause us to? When will be the triggering word? The triggering instant of her being in the other world. Because what I imagine, oh no, sorry, I have like completely. I love Coraline a
Good.
lot, and I feel like I've just been. Wah, 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 wah. I know you've had ideas, Tim. Please
Well,
give me some.
my
Give me something.
my idea, I guess, I really like the rule of three.
Yes,
If you're an artist, you are familiar with the rule of three. Um,
we've talked about this in
it's
other episodes.
yes, the rule of three in art for painting, sketching, etc., is you break up your work into three sections,
Mm,
um, and you try to fill the space almost equally, or at least um, perceptively equally, so that your work doesn't feel too heavy on one side or too unbalanced. I'm in an art class right now, and one of the things that my professor had me do, my last assignment, was really clever. I'm really proud of it. I thought it was hilarious. I drew mountains. I drew the Mount Olympus mountain range in Utah, but I stippled the entire thing with the letter T,
oh,
because in Utah you don't pronounce you don't pronounce the T in mountain.
unless you have two parents who lived outside of Utah for the longest time,
Yeah,
and then you hear that.
the
So
mountains,
mountain.
mountains.
I can't say it the wrong way anymore.
Or and I put just the U, and then there was a space, and then AH, and I made it all like it looked. I made it look like a postcard. Anyway, the point that I'm getting to is my professor had me do some clouds up above just to help with the rule of three, because I put it in a way that I did the entire thing in a way that it followed the rule of three. It just didn't fit in the top right corner and then behind some of the letters. Anyway, the rule of three is really important, not just in traditional art, but also in videography and photography. In movies, a lot of the times you're gonna see things in groups of three. Kubo and the Two Strings, for example.
Three
There's the three
pieces of armor.
pieces of armor, the three artifacts he's got to collect. In any Zelda game, the first half of the game, there's three dungeons generally, or three parts. In other movies, it's the same.
I mean, even in the first Coraline, she goes to the other world
Three
three
times.
times.
Yeah, and I want this to be the same. So those are we have the first two nightmares. The third nightmare I want between. So
So do you want the first act to have the three nightmares?
I want the first act to be the first two nightmares,
Ah,
and then second act to be the second nightmare.
you mean the third?
Third nightmare. That, yes. Um, After the second nightmare, I want her to be kind of freaking out and making sure that she's okay and that she's not button-eyed freak. Um, and I want her to have a conversation with Wybie and maybe Mr. Bobinski, and maybe having a one-sided conversation with the cat.
That's true. I imagine, here's one scene that I've imagined, is Coraline is losing it, and at one point is like arguing, and again, I've imagined that they aren't staying at the Pink Palace. They have been staying at Wybie's grandmother's home. That is the new place that we've located to. But I imagine after, I guess, Nightmare 2, especially after that one of seeing the other mother look like her, the Beldam, we should say at this point, is I imagine her tromping through. It's a rainy night in her pajamas, and Wybie's running with the baby, like, honey, Coraline, Coraline, come on, let's go back to bed. It's okay. We'll talk about this. Where are you going? Like sleeping, like slipping, and it's like, I can't. All right, and they bust in through the door. She goes into the room, the sitting room. Beautiful new wallpaper they put up. Different painting. No more little boy. Or actually, I wanted a painting of all three of the kids.
Yeah.
But I imagine she goes up to the wall with the little door, tears wallpaper up. Like before she even gets to the house, she's gotten a sledgehammer. And you're like, what is she doing? And just does a lower swing, bam, and busts through the door. And it's brick. Nothing. And she just starts hitting the brick. And Wybie's like, Coraline. Her parents come downstairs. Even, you hear like a ding dong, and then Mr. Bobinski's like, I heard commotion. He's got a gun.
I'm imagining
an old musket.
like an old musket with the wide
end, yeah.
And I'm imagining one of the mice sticking out of the end.
Yeah, like, no, sir, no. He's like, I heard commotion. You see Mouse pop up out of the gun. And they're like, Coraline, sit down. And at this point, everyone's heard the story. They all know. And they're like, sweetie, that was long ago. And the parents don't ever really.
Yeah.
But Wybie kind of was like, there was something. And like takes his glove off. He still is obsessed with his little. I imagine he wears one every now and then. Like even just a little one on his hand that got stabbed by the belt. I mean, he goes, something did attack us. I didn't see entirely, but my grandma swears by it. Something took her sister. And then Coraline interrupts the other mother. Like, I know you say that, but it's gone. You're fine. You're a mother now. You're just having stress, and tries to like drop you're having postpartum. What's the proper term? I am not good with the word. Yeah, postpartum depression. It's okay. Like, Mom, you're not listening. You're doing the same thing when I was a kid. And Coraline's mom is kind of hurt by that. Like, sweetie, I'm trying to help you as a new mom. I know what it's like. You don't think I never feared for you? That sort of thing. And her parents kind of rally behind her. They hold her, and they're giving her a group hug, and they reach out to Wybie, and Mr. Bobinski's standing there, and they reach out to him, and they all join in a cute little group hug. And Coraline is safe in that hug. She feels warm, but then you just hear, and Coraline's like, and just
Coraline
loses it. I want Coraline. I want the audience and Coraline to be going and saying, we have all been waiting for a sequel for 15 years, but I want the consequences of us finally getting this movie to rock us. I want us all to be terrified for Coraline. I want us as adults, especially newly married couples, new parents, to go, I need a different fear. The first movie was about children and fearing, adults fearing for our children.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I like it. This is where Nightmare 3 begins.
Do you have an idea for Nightmare 3?
I do.
Oh, please.
I do. Nightmare 3. I want Coraline to be going to bed, and she's going to be telling herself, maybe after a little conversation with Wybie, to take control of her nightmares, take control of her dreams, and just tell herself, this is a nightmare, it can't hurt me. She goes to bed, and the nightmare begins. And I want it to be something similar. I want to be thrown right into the nightmare.
So number 3, we're not guessing it's a nightmare.
No.
We know.
Is a nightmare, for sure. Or is it?
Oh.
I want to be thrown right into it, where Coraline wakes up to the baby crying.
Oh no.
She gets up and she, tells Wybie, it's okay, I got her, and keeps walking down. I'm imagining that the baby is in another room, and they have like the little baby monitors.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, I hate baby monitors.
I hate them too.
In scary movies.
I do too. I don't want to use them in a scary way. I just want them to be there just to show that like Coraline and Wybie want personal space from even their baby, but also like.
Okay, wait, no. The only argument I'll say is if we made it that way, people will throw a fit because it's a newborn baby.
That's true. But at the same time, in a lot of movies, that's how it is anyway.
That's true. Because it could be a small room. Because again, they could be at their grandma's house.
I'm imagining that it's like literally the next room over.
Maybe they're sleeping. Maybe their parents had her and YB sleep at the Pink Palace,
Yeah, I like that.
and
I
they
like
have a
that.
baby. They have a room for the
Hmm.
baby. Maybe they're even sleeping in
Maybe
Madam Fink and
they've had.
Forcible's, or they could be just sleeping in Coraline's old room.
Well, I'm imagining like
Ooh, Coraline's old
they
room.
have another, that other room could be like a nursery that her parents were working on specifically for this baby, and now it's finished, or maybe it's unfinished. I don't know. Anyway, she walks down the hall, and right before she opens the door, the crying stops,
Oh wow! I just gasped.
and Coraline hears,
Oh!
and she jumps and she starts hyperventilating, and then she's like, "It's just a dream. It can't hurt me. It's just a dream. It can't
Don't you
hurt
do
me."
this to me.
She opens the door, and in the crib is the baby until she gets closer and finds the doll.
Son of a monkey!
In the first
Oh
in the
no
first
no no
movie,
no no
right?
no!
The doll is how the beldam would spy on people in the real world to find out their woes and then she could make a perfect world from that.
Okay, I did imagine the babying leaving. I wouldn't want to. I want to argue this. I want or not. I want to pitch this. Hear me out. Pitch. Ha, he said it. Just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have her realize. Have the crying sound. Beldam can do weird things. Crying baby, opens the door. Come on, and starts singing the song. Everything's fine. The baby stopped crying. And she's like, and I want like the audience to like go like something's not right. And then when she lifts the baby away from her, it limps back. It does the whole limp head thing, and
And it's
it's
the
the
doll.
doll.
Okay.
I don't know. Either way,
I'm imagining that because then it's automatically a sense of urgency, like,
mhm.
oh no. And then she gets in there and sees the baby, and kind of a little bit of relief because it looks
Yeah,
like her child.
yeah.
And then she gets closer and realizes it's the doll. And then again, it's even more urgency. She is full on freaking out at this
Well,
point.
even you can still have the sense of urgency. She opens the door. I think if we combine both, because I really think
Okay.
the because what awful thing would it be for a tired mother not to realize that wasn't her baby until like trying to like feel it and then feels like it's wrong, and then
Mhm.
she like I imagine she's like holding the baby and like trying to comfort it, and then just and you just hear a blood curdling scream from her. YB comes in, and
Mhm.
that's what I imagine. So
I'm imagining
I
something a
need
little bit different.
you don't imagine a scream.
No, I'm imagining doesn't come in. I'm imagining she goes in, runs into YB, and instead of YB, there's another freaking doll, a YB doll, and I'm imagining it again. It's the same thing. The YB doll, her parents, both as dolls. Um,
I don't.
Mr. Bobinski as well, and the cat comes up and basically, anyway, I want it to be urgent, and I want her to just her anxiety and her terror to grow.
The only thing I'll argue is I want this to be a couple. They are a team now.
It will be.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay. All right.
I promise.
So I'm
It
just
will
saying
be.
that's what I'm just. I didn't want to say anything of what I
Mhm.
want. I'm just saying I still want YB and her to work together. So
Oh no, it will be for
okay.
sure,
Okay.
100%.
All right. I want to hear more.
I want her to be alone in this moment.
Oh, because this is a nightmare.
This is a nightmare.
You all heard that, right? Okay.
That was my knuckles cracking. I was doing air quotes.
He was doing the bunny ears.
She is going to see the cat and the cat is actually going to be there, present, not a doll, because that would be uncomfortable. Um, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, cat will be there, and she will go up to the cat and say, we've got to get them back. Um, and so she follows the cat to the well, and I want the well's lid to be popped off. Um, and I want her to say, okay, that that's not good. Um, and then she sees the hand off in the distance. And
Ugh.
so she runs after it, starts screaming, you know, um, bring back my family. How dare you? Yada, yada, yada. And basically, she chases the hand around. Sorry, she doesn't get to the well yet. She chases the hand to the well, and the well's lid is open. And the hand, I'm imagining, just for kicks and giggles, because you and I, we talked about it for just a moment. I'm imagining the hand kind of flips up, gives her the middle finger, and then pops down into the hole. Because, like, it's a moment of terror, right? But at the same time, a little bit of levity could
A
be
little bit.
fun. A little bit of the whimsy, the lighter atmosphere for some moments. Just moments. Momentitos.
Okay.
Little tiny. Anyway,
So the baby is gone and the hand has jumped back down the well.
everybody's gone. It's just Coraline and the
Okay.
cat. And Coraline looks at the cat, looks at the well, looks at the cat, and says, "I'm going in." And the cat looks up, sighs, and nods, and then follows. And then they go to the well and they start climbing down. She starts climbing down in the bricks, and she slips, falls down, hits the bottom of the well, and
Does she look up and see stars?
she looks up, sees stars.
Awesome.
Um,
Literally. Just kidding.
yeah. Yes, she hit her head pretty hard. No, looks up, sees stars, looks around, and finds another room, almost like a sewer room. Like down in the sewers, when you go down a manhole, there's a lot of the times there's like a landing, or sometimes there's like an actual room itself. And I'm imagining it something like that. And she follows down this tunnel that looks ancient, and she starts talking to the cat and saying, "This has got to be a dream. I need to wake up. How do I wake up?" And the cat finally responds and says, "Coraline, honey, this ain't a dream. Not this time." And then the dread can set into all of us as we realize, no, this is not the third nightmare. This is actually happening. That's what I'm imagining. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I do want Coraline and the cat to be walking, and the cat is like, she cannot become human again. Not again. She can't be a human. Like, just mumbling. Like, what do you mean? And she says, me and her have a history.
Mm-hmm.
And it flashes back to when she was the witch. I was her familiar. Do you know what that is? And, it's like, you were her cat? Yes, I was. And so she is a witch. She's like, and the cat is like, yes, in a way, she was. She truly did love the children. But through fear and through ignorance, she was blamed for terrible things and thrown down the well, and something broke in her. And this place turned her into something that I couldn't look at. And even she couldn't look at, and that's when it's revealed that she is the one that caved out her eyes. Something like that. Because because you did have the idea of the cat being the original one to do it, but I I imagine she's the one. Went all Oedipus Rex style. So familiar, her cat.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I really have been liking that for a long time, that idea. And I want to be like, that's the big reveal. So the cat is like, she cannot go into the real world because what she's turned into now would just, who knows what she could do in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Would she still be allowed to be a monster? Would she have control? What would happen? And then he's like, and I don't imagine you look too good as a spider monster. Just something like that. Just pointing out that this just can't happen. I think teasing, here's a third nightmare,
Uh-huh.
and then going, no, it was not a nightmare. You were fooled. So
I mean, it feels like how it would be. It
it
might
feels
to
like,
me.
no, it would be because
Mhm.
everyone's like, oh, we get a third nightmare, and then but then just to have her just land. So my question is, because I
Mhm.
want YB and her to be there together.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious of how you do that. Because okay, I want to go because I kind of like where you're
We'll
going.
get YB pretty soon,
Okay,
pretty
so
quick.
right now it's just her and the cat.
hmm Um, just her and the cat, and the cat starts talking and says, "Look, she's after you and your family. She's after your family. She's given up on you, but she wants everything else." And they talk, and I want there to be like a realization. Okay, um, the Beldam is literally just feeding on the life force of these other people. Because in the actual movie, in the first movie, um, the little children, the dead children, the ghosts mention briefly. It's one like throwaway line in there that she fed on their lives.
Mm-hmm.
She consumed their lives, and I want it to be that the reason that she's still around is because she feeds on the lives of those she captures. And I want that to be a big thing. And she captured the baby because the baby has the longest life to live and will have the most life essence to consume. Um, and maybe also that the Beldam just maybe also wants a child to raise as her own to do things the way that she wants them to be done.
I think that just her wanting the baby,
Mm-hmm.
because she can make her own family,
Yeah.
you know. So I feel like, and that's why the only reason why I'm like, I don't really want the other family to be kidnapped. I want it just to be the biggest slap in the face of, I stole your baby. And I'm probably, and I do imagine she's like, and I'm going to kill you too. Like, just,
Mm-hmm.
you wretched little girl of mine. And if you all haven't guessed, if the Beldam has taken our precious baby, that means that the Beldam now looks like Coraline.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have the scene where she comes through out the tunnel out the other side.
So we both, funny enough, we both end up in tunnels
Mm-hmm.
in our versions.
Yeah, I want this tunnel to end up either at the well again or somewhere else. I don't really
I
care.
imagine, I mean,
In the
Wyborn's
well, out the well.
Wyborn's mother could, or it just leads to the grandmother's old house
Maybe.
because that's where they were planning on making their home.
Yeah. No, maybe that's
Because
where
it
it
would
goes.
probably look, because it might seem like they're heading away from the Pink Palace. It's kind of an analogy.
Mm-hmm.
We're going from their old home to the well where they like met, and now it's creeping into their family home. So,
Maybe. I don't know.
but again, I'm really
I do
curious
like
of
the
how you
idea of
want Wyborn.
just the pink palace. Anyway, we'll get to so the tunnel goes white, right, and it's just the white landscape, and then she comes to, um, with the cat. They come up to the house. I kind of want it to be the Pink Palace still, just because um, with the Pink Palace, if I remember right, it's the cat that says that the house is cursed. It's something to do with the house. I want them to come back to the Pink Palace. I could have just given you this one.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you could have. I went and grabbed a pen.
Anyway, um, come back to the Pink Palace. She kicks in the door, comes into the living room, and sees her baby in the arms of the beldam, who says, "Shh, you're gonna wake my baby," and turns, and it's Coraline's face with the button eyes.
And just get that same zoom in, just
Uh-huh.
like when the first other mother was shown to the audience.
Uh-huh. And
What color eyes?
I'm imagining black because
I
she
imagine
says she
blue
does say, "Ooh,
to match her hair.
okay, okay,
I've always imagined the buttons being blue to match her hair.
okay." That does make sense. I'm imagining black because she does the Beldams says it's tradition.
Hmm. That's
Black,
true.
it's tradition. But the blue, I kind of like the
What was
blue.
there was the vermilion and
Chartreuse.
chartreuse, and if you did that, I would be jealous. It could be the chartreuse one. Turns around and she's got the chartreuse, and I always told you you'd make me jealous in chartreuse. And Coraline's just like,
Okay,
you,
I like that.
and just like, you witch, how are you alive? Just, I want this to be the moment.
Hmm.
And I do want a moment of the Beldam, like the old self, to come out for a split second. But it's the same Beldam face, except she's wearing Coraline's clothes, but now has the blue hair. I
Hmm.
want Coraline to still have the blue hair. Before anyone's like, no, she probably grew out of it. No, she still needs that blue hair.
Agreed. It's
It,
not Coraline without it.
it just, at least for the movie. But I wouldn't mind at one point Beldam gets angry and just turns into it like, you were an awful daughter. But now shrinks back to Coraline. And I don't want it to be Dakota Fanning. I would hope that it would be the same actress because
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure she could still work with a young voice. But I want this scene, this part to be.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm like imagining it and I'm like freaking out. Just you'll wake the baby, and it just turns in, and I want there to be like a frozen moment of it closes up on the mother smile or the Beldam smiling, and
hmm,
then it turns, not turns, but like it and it like switches instantly, same frame, but it's Coraline's face frowning. So other mother smiling as Coraline, and flips, and it's Coraline frowning and angry.
I like it.
So
I like it. And then so I want that, and then I want there to be some thing where where the other Coraline, where Button Eyes says or makes some remark about you brought the cat again.
and how did you manage to get eyes back, you witch?
Uh huh.
Just
Some retort, some lines just between the two would be really fun. And then I want Coraline to say, "All right, look, give me back my family, and I'll leave you alone." And the Beldam says something to the effect of, "You don't have power here. This is my world and my family now." And I want I want there to be this whole thing where Coraline can see YB, her parents, maybe Mr. Bobinski. I kind of want Mr.
Mr.
Bobinski to be trapped
Bobinsky would
here.
be there.
Uh huh. All of them, they're trapped in their own something. Um, and if you guys are thinking this is a very labyrinth esque kind of adventure, you're right.
I didn't even think of Labyrinth.
I did last night. I was like, I'm gonna go with labyrinth because I think it works. Yeah, I want that conversation to happen. Um, and then I want Coraline to be like, fine, I'll play a game for it, for my family. And the Beldam's like, nope,
No game.
you cheated last time. I don't play with cheaters. Um, and Coraline can say something along the lines of, fine, we'll play a game your way. You make the rules. But it has to be winnable, and I get YB. And that's how we get YB. And other mother's like, fine, I make the rules, and you can have YB as your you can have the useless one as your partner.
You can have the loud one.
Yeah.
You can have the bad YB. And
Mm-hmm.
YB just whop just falls through something.
I'm imagining it's a picture, right? There's the three photos,
Oh.
right, of the children, and in the other world, I want it to be the photos of
Newly trapped.
the newly trapped souls. I want YB, I want the parents, and I want Mr. Bobinski to be trapped in the photos. And other mother snaps and says, take him. You won't win, even together. And YB falls out of the picture and you know, does his whole thing.
I imagine he doesn't talk.
I'm imagining he's too stunned to talk. Like he talks, but he's just like, I what where what I and Coraline runs up, hugs him, and yeah, and then they can have this whole thing. And other mother says, "No hints this time. Find your family." And she snaps, and the two other photos disappear. Along, yeah. So the other two photos disappear. Again, rule of three. I want there to be three boss levels, if so to speak. The first one, she goes and trying to find Mr. Babinski. I haven't figured out the trials. I haven't figured it out. I've thought about it and I can't figure it out. I can't think of how it would go, what we would do.
So you want 3 trials.
I want there to be the 3 trials again. Just like in the first movie, 3 trials. But the first one is Mr. Bominski. Second one is going to be her parents. But when she finds them and frees them, they join her this time. So they join her in the search, helping her find the future. So Mr. Bominski comes in and is like, so this is the other land the mice speak of.
The mice told me of this place.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. And then they find the parents, and the parents are like, so sorry, we didn't believe you. And so that'll be the second trial, is finding the parents, and they'll be separate, I think, in that. And maybe her task is to bring the 2 photos together and merge them. And something clever, maybe she does something clever with a mirror to make it look like they're together.
All right, I'm gonna give it a pause here.
Mm-hmm.
What if there is no game? Now hold on.
Okay.
Because again, I want the Beldam to just be like, no, you get to be alone. So Coraline goes, a game. Again, me and you. A game. No, just full on, no. But no. No, sweetie, there's no game. You're gonna end up alone in here like I was. And who knows, maybe someday you will have buttons for eyes and you'll get to be called the new witch. Like, I want her goal is to somehow leave. Become Coraline.
Okay.
Coraline stays. And she's the Beldam. You are the other Coraline. I am not. We can even have her buttons starting to change back into eyes. I know that's probably pushing it. Some people are like, no. But that's just how delusional she is.
Well, I think maybe that could be the deal, is if Coraline fails, then Coraline has to stay, and the beldam leaves with Coraline's family and becomes Coraline.
Okay. We
So
can
that
do
could be
that.
the deal.
Oh,
I don't want that to be the actual, like, I don't want that to be reality yet.
here's one.
Am I gonna want to slap you?
No, Coraline doesn't. So they sit there and like, what do you want? And other Coraline goes, I want to play a game. I get to cheat. I get to be the hero. And you get to be the evil Beldam. Just something. Again, I really want it to be like she's pushing so hard that Coraline is the bad one. You're the bad one. You're not fit to be a mom. You're not the mom. I am. This baby's mine, not yours. And again, though, running back, I know you didn't like the name Buttons, but I imagine that the other mother is like, I can't believe you haven't named her yet. She's as cute as a button. That's it. Buttons, such a good name. And just Coraline, no, you don't get to name my daughter. And she's like, my daughter. And the baby is actually like nestling into Coraline and you're all other Coraline, and you're just like, oh. So
Okay.
I want to keep that name, just the Buttons, just
All
the
right.
kind of the more don't you anyway. So I want the other mother to offer the game. We will play a game.
And so it only feels right that, like, the other mother, or I guess no, it's the other Coraline.
The other Coraline. Let's just call her the other.
The other. The other is like doing these challenges, you're on your own again. And Coraline's like no,
No.
absolutely not.
This is
I want my husband.
He's
Give him to me.
we're married. That's
Uh-huh.
our child. And it's cute though because her parents are also going to be. I'm assuming her parents will be one challenge then. So we'll go
Mhm.
Bobinski parents,
And then you'll see.
and then we'll see. Fine,
Yeah.
and then we'll see. I mean, so kind of like
Mhm.
with the first movie. Just and people are like, "Well, that's just lame." I'm like, rules of three. It might be cheesy, but it's history tends to repeat itself in life, and so I don't know. Sue us. It's fine. If you make your own podcast and you make up your own sequel, dang it, fine. This is the only sequel I've seen that I've seen fan fictions of YB and her being married, but I don't think I've ever seen Coraline and YB have a kid. That might not be true. But for the most part, I really tried finding it. Anyway, so challenge number 1. So I'm assuming she like snaps her fingers or
I'm imagining they're having this argument or this conversation in the living room, right?
And it's
The sitting room.
okay.
And
are you
then
imagining the Pink Palace like I am?
I am.
Because I just feel like it all goes back to the
It's
Pink Palace.
got to.
'Cause-
It's got to.
Again, this is people might say like, it's kind of lame that the other mother or the other is coming for her now, and it's like the other mother's coming for the baby. So yeah, what perfect revenge would it be to replace her, kill her, and take her baby? So can't stress that enough that people might think it's lame, but at least it works for a 15-year hiatus, unlike Incredibles. What? Oh man, what was? Wow,
Wow.
wow.
Gee, I wonder what that could have been.
What could it have been? That was an incredible cough. Oh.
That sounded vaguely like a particular movie name,
Oh.
movie title. Oh.
Oh, anyway.
Anyhoozle. No, so I'm imagining they have that conversation in the sitting room,
And I imagine the whole time other
Uh-huh.
mother's just holding her,
and
other YB's just
I'm
behind
imagining
her.
Coraline, the real Coraline, has fists clenched, and she's saying all of this through like clenched teeth.
I imagine they're
yelling
holding
at
hands.
her and holding YB's hand. I like that.
Like I'm trying to like, and don't take this as the wrong way, but looking across the table from you, I'm imagining you and your wife sitting across from me, and I'm the bad guy, and I have. Yeah, I don't know. You guys don't have a baby yet, but just something like that. And I imagine you would be like pretty pissed off, but I can't even imagine looking over at fakes, your wife in the corner. Have you said her name before? I think you have.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
I just couldn't imagine looking your wife dead in the eye with unbridled rage if I was holding your baby as a. Oh, oh. Okay, I'm done.
I don't want to imagine the raw, pure fury of my wife.
There's a reason why it's Mama Bear syndrome. So,
Uh-huh.
oh, anyway,
Mother's fury.
I like it a lot. And again, I think the duality of it with the other becoming Coraline and trying to take her daughter, I love it so much.
Yeah.
And again, I think that because I originally was like, because I did want Coraline to have a child, but I didn't want the Beldam to be the main villain. I wanted to kind of mirror her daughter acting like Coraline at her age and blah, blah, blah. But then you said Beldam being the main villain again. I went, oh, she's taking it. I still imagined a toddler or like a 6-year-old or something. But when you said, a baby, a brand new baby, everything in my brain just. Anyway, so they've had this meeting.
It's very labyrinth.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think it's a
labyrinth.
very good. And it might be lame, but there are many stories of, there you have Hook from. You have the Robin Williams Hook movie. They get taken in the beginning. Great movie. We mention him a lot, and that's okay because we both just love him. And oh gosh, now I'm just slipping of all the movies, or just a family member or someone. There's even sometimes when the parents get taken away, like the first Coraline, and so this is fine.
Or like the one Jimmy Neutron movie.
Actually, that is the Jimmy Neutron movie. Is the first movie, is like the first thing that introduced us to Jimmy Neutron, and then the show came after.
Yeah.
So I just found people like, oh, the Jimmy Neutron movie. I'm like, okay, I hope you're not saying that like you think the show is first, but people are like, oh, I thought the show came first. No.
There's a couple movies. There's also the show.
Yeah.
And I have to specify it's the movie where the parents all over the world get kidnapped by the egg aliens.
Oobla, it's Toast. Hello, Toast. I love. Can I space? Sorry, that holds some family history there, so I'll just stop. Not a bad thing, just kind of a sad thing. So this meeting.
Yes.
The terms have been made.
The
The other Coraline is like, all right, good luck. And bloom. I still like, you had the idea of the portraits.
Yeah.
I was imagining that. And so are they going to do like a Super Mario thing? Like, yahoo! And like walk it and like jump in the pictures or what?
Wow. No, what I'm imagining is the other snaps. The photos, the pictures vanish, and Coraline and Wybie have to go, and they go around the Pink Palace, and they find. I'm gonna say they find Mr. Bobinsky's painting or his photograph in his home, right, in his flat. It seems a little kind of lame, but it's less of a treasure hunt and more of a, okay, you got to find them and you got to convince them.
Yeah, it's not because I imagine more of, she's now put each of them in their own world because the other mother, if we're kind of stealing from the book for a second, she makes worlds. Like one of the kids in the book mentions how she just makes worlds and has fun. So I think easily she can make worlds. And more the fact, I think maybe she could affect people's health. Like, so, because I imagine if they go into that painting in his room, they jump in, it's just this wonderful, it could be back in Russia. It could be something amazing. He's just back home. He feels good. Maybe he's not blue. Many people think he is blue. They're hinting that he was part of Chernobyl and he had some form of radiation, or it's all the beets he eats. That
Hmm.
rhymed. But there's so many things. But I imagine just him looking good. Maybe he was part of the Soviet army and
He's KGB.
if he got out of that because he didn't want to,
Hmm.
then it probably would lead him to a sad life. Anyway, but for
I actually I know a guy who's ex KGB.
oh wow,
He's really cool.
that's crazy, Tim. That's
I don't think I've ever heard his story, but he is a really good guy.
oh
Yeah. I actually grew up. He lives in the neighborhood I grew up in. So it's cool.
okay.
Good guy. Anyway, I'm imagining Coraline and Wipey walk up the stairs, walk through the door into Bobinski's home, his flat, up in the attic, and you see. I'm imagining you see two halves of the same home in a way.
Mhm.
I'm imagining the left half is the real Bobinski, and the right half is the fake Bobinski. And the left half of the room, it's like split down the middle perfectly. Left half is covered in dust, and it's darker and a little more run down. And then on the right side, you have pristine, beautiful room. You have the mice, um, and you have a younger Bobinski, a more just a healthier, cleaner
So we want the one from
Bobinski.
the. Do we? Okay, my question is.
I kind of want a similar. I don't want it to be the same Bobinski, but
Hmm.
I want it to be a very similar, like similar vibe.
I mean, we even could make it his family because here's how I imagine it.
Mhm.
We as humans don't want to see doppelgangers. We don't.
No.
So I imagine that I was really thinking about it and I was like, I don't know if I would want to see another version of me ridiculing me. Like, look what you can have, look what I have. I think
Maybe instead of his family, maybe it's the lead mouse
maybe.
talking to him, kind of the way the cat talks to everybody, and the mouse is talking to Bobinski, and it's like, look what you have now, but look what you could have if you just stayed here. And the mouse is like
Ooh.
leading his troop of mice to do crazy tricks and stuff.
What if, okay, I'm going to kind of mix a little, I have kind of a mesh idea. What if for a creepy second, we have, think of the Rat Bobinski from
Uh-huh.
the from the first movie. The one that's like, I don't understand. And he's like, how could you? Like the one that's not even that anymore, the creepy one.
Yeah.
What if it starts out with that? It just kind of shows up wrapping around poles and he goes, why do you enjoy this? Look what you. And then when he starts questioning the Rat Bobinski, like, what are you? Like, who are you? Like, why are you making fun of me? He's like, you could be our leader. And then the coat opens up and all the jumping mice come out all beautiful and they keep talking in his voice like be our leader. They wrap the coat around him. You can have, and he can feel himself getting younger. And then as they come up and they're doing all these things, because I imagine that they're kind of part of the other mother, but I imagine that that would be the temptation: is be healthy again, be wonderful again, be our ringleader again. He'll be wonderful, but there's only two things you need. And they show up with the little box
Mm-hmm.
of the button eyes. They're like, sew your button. Like just something like that. So, like the other mother is trying to take them as well as, I don't know. I feel like that would be like they're all getting a mini version of what Coraline went through. Because that's what she does. You're making a deal with the Beldam.
Right.
So I feel like that could be a cool thing. Would be because it would be the jumping mice, a successful jumping mice thing. It's like your circus never got good, your circus never was big, but with us, you can, and we can even like have voices outside cheering, like Bobinski, like something like that. So I don't know.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I like it. I like it. Yeah, no, I think that's what we're gonna go with.
So do Coraline and him come in, or maybe the rats, or when they, oh, I imagine when they step forward, the mice, you see those soft mice, but when they turn around, they turn into the rats, and they're like you, because other Coraline is kind of lying, like, oh, you can go and help them, but it's gonna be hard. So I don't know, just something like that. Or at
Mhm.
least I want to see that. Like Wybie's like, oh my gosh, mice, this is really cool. That's the jumping mice. And then Coraline's don't trust everything you say. What do you mean? And he looks up at one, and one sees Coraline and like just turns into the big rat, and they're like, oh.
Mhm.
So
I like that.
and Wybie's like, ah! Like totally like does that scream he does kind of in the first movie. I hope that they
Uh,
could get the actor, because even though he'll be, probably in his mid 30s at this point, just the he just and Coraline's all calm and collected and just pissed. She's like, "Let us through. You're cheating." And the mice are like, mm. And they kind of roll their eyes like, "Fine."
mhm.
So, but I would just want that, Bobinski is feeling healthier, and Coraline comes up and says, "Don't do it, Mr. Bobinski. She almost got me this way." And Bobinski's just like, "But Coraline, look," and like starts doing
The
the one
one-handed.
hand, like, "Look, I am
Uh,
amazing again." And just really like he gets to be young again. He's like, "But look, everything I could do, I could have my jumping mice again. I only have this one left." And you're like, and I just imagine he pulls him out, and the little mouse looks at him, and the little mouse is the only one telling him, like, a little mouse to convince him. They have a little silent conversation
I like that. I like that.
because she's trying so hard. And she's like, "You have your jumping mice at home." And he's like, "No, I only have." And he, like, pulls him out this one. And he, like, realizes what he's doing.
Mhm.
And he looks at another one, and it has buttons in its eyes. And he goes, "This is wrong." So probably a few more things. They're probably enticing him more, but I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
It's not too action packy, and I imagine there's probably some brief. The rats all transform, and they all go inside the coat, and there's Rat Bobinski again.
And Bobinski has to fight Bobinski,
They
maybe.
have to
I don't
fight.
know.
Maybe it pulls that. Maybe pulls out for some reason. It's just a random dueling sword. Like, "You can leave when you beat me," like, or something like
Maybe.
that. Something
I'm
cheesy like that.
I'm imagining it's more, you know, Rat Bobinski is humiliating real Bobinski,
Mhm.
and then the cat comes in and is like, "It's my turn to play," kind of thing.
I the rats just look at the cat and go, "There are many of us, only one of you," and just divulge on the cat.
Mm.
And they're like, "You're too old," and they like run out.
Yes.
And the thing is, as they're running out of the room and it starts, the stupid hallway gets longer and longer,
Uh-huh.
we see Bobinski start arching again, getting older. Wybie's trying to push him through. And they're barely making it. I imagine they get scraped up and down, up a few times, but as soon as they get out of his house and slam the door,
Hmm.
we see the rats get to the door and do the tip of the freeze, like the dog bats do, and the
Hmm.
taffy ladies just freeze up, and it starts changing, and you're like, "Ooh, not again, not
Yeah.
again."
Turns white. Thanos snaps away, kind of thing.
Something like
Because I kind
that.
of I kind of like that because it's like
So
Coraline and Bobinski are overcoming their temptations, and so they leave it behind, and it has no purpose anymore. So other Coraline's like, all right, never mind. I don't need it.
No, I think so.
I don't know.
And I think that they themselves, instead of the eyes being the thing that does them, we see that like they are the Oh wait, you said they like jump into the portrait, right?
No.
No.
No. I'm imagining Coraline and Wybie find the portrait, and then the portrait expands into, I guess kind of, but it expands into like a doorway. It expands into a room that is Bobinski's home.
Okay. So maybe it's
So maybe they come out of it, the portrait shrinks again, and then it falls and
all right, that's
shatters.
cool.
I don't know.
And oh no, they get out of it and it freezes up and we just see like the twisted Bobinski, like the rat Bobinski stuck in the frame, like trying to reach out and the frame's frozen. Something like that.
Okay.
Um all right. So then they're like, okay, onward ever onward sort of thing. Next challenge, parents.
Parrots.
I imagine that I don't know if each parent is in their own separate room because
I kind of want them together.
want them together.
Just like Coraline and Wybie,
Maybe,
her parents are a team.
yeah. Well, no, and I imagine they'd be in two different rooms. But then I think about it. Maybe earlier in the movie we see that they both have used maybe Coraline's old room. No, they probably have another, or they, you know how Dad had his office. Maybe they both have their own desks in the room. So when they walk, she's like, "All right, let's go to my parents' study," and they walk in the house and all right, no, we'll go through the parents' challenges, but I do want to ask a question about one confrontation which I want to have, kind of. So they go to the parent study, and I imagine just for now, we have two separate pictures, and you'll kind of see what happens. So they get to the room, and there's two separate pictures by each other of the parents working or something like that. Just two separate. They're just two separate pictures now.
Maybe just sitting on the desks.
yeah, just sitting on their desk like bookends on different side of the room, and they're like, oh, Coraline and Wyatt, and she's like, "You grab my mom's, I'll grab my dad's," and they grab them, and they put the pictures together, and then it like then opens up into their scenario, and I kind of want to steal kind of the book because this is an inspiration from the book. In the book, the other mother shows Coraline a fake scene of her parents coming home from holiday or a vacation, since it would be in America. But the book takes place in the UK, so we'll say holiday. And they come home and they go, "Oh, that was wonderful. And we don't have to deal with Coraline anymore, always whining and complaining." And Coraline's watching from the mirror going, "That's not real." So I kind of want something along the lines of that, of them being successful, having this wonderful career and everything. So instead of it being, I don't know if I would want her, I don't think they need to have their evil counterparts confronting them because they would just be so ecstatic. Like the dad's reading, like, "Wow, Garden News Weekly just emailed us and we're going to have the head article." She's like, "Well, I just got a call from," names like some like celebrity with, I don't know, insert celebrity here, and we're
Yeah.
gonna be, and they want us they want to be a guest on our, they want to be a guest on our local show. This is amazing. They own like the palaces, the Pink Palace is like theirs. They're like super happy. They're all successful, and Coraline goes to call out to them, and like a glass screen, the mirror kind of hits her, and you can't touch it. And I just imagine. I imagine that she feels something beside her, and Wybie looks over, and it's the other Coraline and Wybie just kind of sitting there, going, "Shh, we can't disturb them. They need to make this up for themselves, sweetie," and just something like that. For some reason, I wouldn't mind having them constantly bugging, but I want Wyborn to really feel awkward about quiet YB.
Mm-hmm.
Like I imagine the two women, like there's two chairs to watch, and Coraline sits down, and the other Coraline sits down. She's holding the baby, and Coraline's like tries to make a grab, and the chair just scoots across the room. She goes, "Nuh-uh, Coraline," and looks down and goes, "Shh, you'll wake her up. You'll wake up Buttons." Like constantly teasing. I want that. I want the teasing.
I like that.
But I want YB to sit in there with quiet YB and go, "Hey, man." Just so, hey, doesn't say anything. You don't talk a lot, do you? Oh, did Coraline not tell you about other YB? He can't talk, just like how Coraline likes it. I think it's much better myself. And Coraline's like, shut up. Oh. So I just imagine they're just viewing it. For some reason, other Coraline's like, I'm gonna watch this. Don't touch. Like, I want her teasing. Just even like a snide comment, like, and looks at Bobinski. Oh, you decided not to accept my gift. And Bobinski's like, Coraline, why do you have buttons in your eyes? Like, just like, and the cat and the mouse are like, ah. The mouse squeaks and keeps looking at the cat or something like that. It's just an awkward moment. I want these awkward little moments of them like, whoa. So, but it's a little view party to watch the parents. They get to decide what they do. So I just imagine that Coraline is like trying to bang on it, and other mothers like, Coraline, stop, play fair. And she goes like, you did? And she goes, I never cheated last game. Just something like that. Just totally always reminds her, like, you technically cheated. Even though, do we really think the beldam would have let her go?
No.
So
Nope, she wouldn't have let her go.
let's be honest here.
Here's what I'm imagining. I'm imagining all that's going on, and the
Do you
parents,
like it?
I do.
Because I don't want Coraline to really. Because you see where I'm getting at.
I see. And I kind of want, at this point, other mother and other father to come in.
Oh.
And I want them to start talking to mom and dad and say, hey, you like this, don't you? This is what you could have. You just got to stay here forever. And then I want Coraline, I want the parents to start talking, and the real parents to kind of be a little freaked out. And then I want Coraline to turn to the other and say, you said I have to, something along the lines of, you said that we have to prove whose family is better. I am their family. You let me help them.
Okay.
And the other's like, you get one sentence.
I just see
one sentence.
I see a microphone just coming up from the ground. just like just a full on like, and then all of a sudden the light goes on, and
maybe it's like a drop microphone, one that hangs from the ceiling.
Maybe it could either from the ground or from the floor. I love how I went reverse on each one. I went never mind. Y'all can kind of imagine. But then, it says recording on air, and it flashes red, and we see the lights go red in the room, and all parents look up, and, well, what does Coraline say, Tim? Your idea?
You won't have me. And then it goes quiet.
And it goes right back, like a flash.
It goes right back. And I'm imagining the parents.
Ooh, wait.
Oh,
sorry, really quick, before you do that, because we have to, the buttons need to be included. And so I want it to be kind of crude, because I want the other mother to be the mother that we all saw from the last movie. She's wonderful. But I want the dad to be kind of that pumpkin squash dude. Right now he looks normal, but he goes, oh, it's easy, don't worry. Rips out his buttons. All you got to do is take these. And the dad's like, what? He goes, what do you mean? And the other mother, like, what my pumpkin is trying to say is you need to have button eyes yourselves, and you get to have all of this. So
Mhm.
something along those lines. And then I imagine like Coraline's like, no, no, not the Bryans, not the
Not the
bees,
gumdrop
not the Bryans, not the gumdrop Bryans.
buttons.
Amy. Dang it. Not the buttons. No. Anyway,
Yes.
dang it.
Anyway.
So not the buttons. Coraline demands, like you said, that we need to prove whose family's better. Which I'm kind of like, do we want to retcon that we said? Now, you know what? No, that's fine.
Mhm.
I think it's fine. I think we'll make it work. Either way, I think that her going, this isn't fair. These are my challenges, and Mother Caroline could be like, more like it's a family challenge. I'll give you one line, maybe something like that. Like,
Mhm.
fine, one line, sweetie. I love it, and I want her to always condescend with the sweetie, like
Uh-huh.
she's her mother still, even though she looks just like her.
I like that.
We could
I
even,
like that.
I don't know, we could make her call her sister instead. No,
Nope.
I love
Sweetie.
the sweetie. Like,
Mhm.
sweetie, calm down. And she goes, you look like me. I know. I just can't help the fact that sometimes I still feel like your mother. You're not my mother. You're right. Your other mother. I will kill you. Like, just,
Mhm.
I'll do it again.
I'm not going back.
I'm not going back.
Yes.
All right. So so all of a sudden the voice comes in the red light. Ooh, red light. Ooh. I just imagine all my lights going red and a voice going, "You won't have me." I'd be like, God, like I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I'll probably edit that. But seriously though, I think that would be cool. Just the lights go red like a recording booth, like just that loud. You
Mhm.
know the sound it makes when you flip on all the lights in a warehouse. The I just
Uh-huh.
imagine, and it makes that big switch noise. Mom, Dad, you won't have me. And it switches back immediately, and all the parents look up. Oh, their father doesn't have his eyes. What happened?
I'm imagining too that after that, the real parents they look at each other and they look around at what they could have and they look at the buttons and they look back at each other again and then they both smile and they're like, "We can work for this. We already have our daughter. We're good."
But then we need to have that transition, and all of a sudden, both of the other parents stand up. Other turns into
One
the beldam,
one's a
and
pumpkin,
then
one's
one's the
uh-huh.
pumpkin. And go, you're not leaving. And you're like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, you don't know where your daughter is. And I want like to have a special point with the dad. And I'm trying to think of, I kind of want a moment of the dad to be the one to like be all scared and when he's confronted with it, but he looks and he just sees her through it. I don't know how to explain it,
Mm-hmm.
but I just imagine
No,
they
no,
just
no. I'm
like,
imagining like it's like a one-way window,
uh-huh.
right? And dad looks around and
Here are some results.
What? Excuse me. Why? Sorry, my Alexa decided to talk to us. What are you looking up, Alexa? Round and oh, she
huh.
thought, okay, whatever. Now we'll let the L turn off on its own, but that was weird.
That was
Thanks
strange.
for interrupting.
Anyway, I'm imagining dad looks around and says and kind of frantically like where's my daughter? Where's Coraline? And then makes eye contact with Coraline
Ooh.
through the glass and the glass kind of fades into a two-way window instead of a one-way window. And he grabs his wife by the shoulder and points and says, "There."
And they run.
And they run and they're
I
being
ha
chased. And I'm imagining like books and catalogs are getting flung at them. And
I had a thought, another thought. Sorry, this is something
mhm,
that. What if when they're looking around, there's the bowl of, there's just a random like bowl of taffy,
mhm.
like the candy one, because for some reason it just kind of feels like home. And I imagine that as the other creates the worlds, if some things are stuck in there, they kind of come back. So just like recycle stuff and has to use matter from the old things. But I imagine, oh, no, 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 no. I thought of it, Tim.
Okay.
Coraline doesn't get to say a word.
Okay.
Okay, Coraline doesn't get to say anything. She goes, I need to help them. And she goes, I have an idea. And she, we kind of talked about in the last movie, we kind of joked about it, but other mother goes, fwing, and like rolls her hand up, and
Oh.
around her middle finger is the stone. And
Uh-huh.
she just gently and it just lands randomly on the father's desk. And I mean, not on the desk, but on the table in front of all the parents. And the other mother goes, oh, a rock, and goes to take it. And the father goes, reminds me of something Coraline told me about. Touched it. And he just holds on to it. Must be lucky. I'll take it. And then they're like confronting them, talking.
Hmm.
And then when they say no, they get confronted and, they're getting chased. And the dad looks at it and he remembers a story that his daughter told him about because I bet you Coraline told the story many times, and he goes, it he's like, it helps find lost things. And he looks through it and he sees Coraline
I
through
like
the
it. I
glass.
like it.
So I don't know. I just
And
imagine that'd
that
be
way,
very
that way we
sweet.
can bring in a scene that I really kind of wanted to have just for funsies.
Because she has in the movie, I kept because we watched the movie, and other mother flings the rock around her finger,
Hmm.
and I always was like, I really want it around her middle finger.
Uh-huh. Well, and like, think about it this way: this movie's grown up with us. The people that grew up watching this are adults now, most likely.
Yeah,
So
I can see this being PG-13, and people can, if they get mad about like, well, I can't take my kids to it. Yeah, you could probably take your 12, like the minute, like again,
I
parents'
wouldn't
guidance.
I wouldn't take a a kid younger than maybe 10 to see
Yeah,
Coraline the
yeah.
real Coraline movie anyway.
I wasn't allowed to watch it around my little sisters till they
Mhm.
were past 10.
Yeah.
About the age Coraline was. So
Hmm.
I think 11, 12 could see this even if it was PG-13 because if because people are like, "Oh, that's a little like did you all go see the Avengers movie? Did you guys go see Iron Man with your kids?" I was barely Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Jeez. I was
Really,
thir-
really dating yourself
uh,
again.
I was 13
Mhm.
when that movie came out. So I was all
So,
like, I could, oh my gosh. Anyway,
it's fine. I didn't watch Iron Man until I was like 14 or 15.
really?
Uh,
Wow.
I didn't really watch superhero movies. And then my dad was like, all right, we're going to watch all the superhero movies. I'm
You're
like,
like, okay,
cool, let's do
dad.
it.
So I think that would be
Anyway.
cool. I think that would be a fun thing. And we
Mhm.
see the other Coralines like, ugh, I should not have given you that. So, and then that could be cool because after they shatter through the glass, when they break through, they find everyone sitting down already. And she goes,
Mhm.
good, you're invited. Good, you just made it to family meeting. And we see other mother and pumpkin dad walk behind her. And she goes, Mom, Dad, you can go to bed now. And they're like, okay. And like, you like what? Squish, squash, pumpkins. And like, just a little brief thing like
Uh,
that. I feel like that would have been cool. I really would have liked that. Like, I just want, she's like, give them something. And she goes, fine. And because the stone stayed in her world. So
right.
I feel like that would have been a funny thing for her to go, fine, I'll give you something. Because how does she know that the other mother probably doesn't know that she doesn't understand, she doesn't comprehend how good of a connection they have. And maybe she didn't hear everything her parents went through. Maybe she didn't have powers. But I really think that we could get away with with her dad seeing the stone and taking it from the table and just repeats, and maybe after, you know other Coraline could go, so other father, and dad just goes, yeah, I have no, like just gets angry. No. So how did you know that the stone did that? And he goes, this little girl told me many stories of an evil other mother and how a stone helped her find lost things. Ugh.
I like it. I like that.
And she goes, ah, aren't you all just a cute, loving family? And kind of grows taller for a second, shrinks back down. Like, I would love to, like, she's trying to be more composed and is doing a better job, but every now and then just gets bigger. And when she does it, the baby, and just like shrinks back down. Like the baby, honestly, it would be really cute when she gets mad and then she looks down and just like softens up a bit. So I'm not trying to make the Beldam a good guy. I'm not.
No,
I'm not. I'm just saying.
but when you humanize a villain, even just a little bit, it helps. I don't know. It just helps you connect one with the villain, but also two with the main characters.
Yeah. And I hope it's. I feel like there have been a lot of reboots where, and I'm kind of thinking about an ending that I was thinking about this movie. I know. I think I think it's okay with what we do. I feel like if we do it correctly, it might be cheesy, but I think it will work. Now I guess we are at the boss level, I'm assuming.
Welcome
To the welcome to the boss level. And I kind of mentioned I don't know if I want the other YB to I don't know if I want YB to be conflicted about being quiet, because I think that it just shows the connection, because I was thinking maybe there is a few disputes of their marriage, and this could, like, there are moments of tension between them, but honestly I'm like, and because there are contention in marriage, especially early marriage. We don't know how long they've been married. We never really set a date. I imagine since they've probably been together since they were little, maybe they got married for 5 years. Could have been a year. I don't know. Maybe they were trying to have kids and they finally got lucky. I don't know. But I just imagine their connection. If they weren't sick of each other, then this wouldn't phase them. And I
Mm.
feel like the other mother was trying so hard, but she's just so mad because she can't phase. And I hope people aren't mad like, well, they're just a perfect couple. It's like, well, they've been together for 15 plus years, so they're probably got a lot of stuff worked out.
Yeah.
I hope that when you and your wife hit 15 years, that it is. Did I say that right? I hope. Yeah, I said I
Yes.
hope when. I didn't say I hope if. I said I hope when you guys hit 15 years, that it is a very strong marriage, and I hope it's a better marriage than what you have now. In 25 years, same thing.
Mm. I'm sure it will be.
I hope when you look back, you're like, oh, that was cute when we were a year apart, but this is way better. Like, So what I hope someday. So the boss level.
Yes. So right, welcome to the boss level. Cue anxiety-inducing piano solo. I'm imagining at this point Coraline and YB have everybody else behind them, and then they're facing almost mirror image of each other. You have Coraline and YB, and then behind you have the parents. You have Bobinski and the cat and the mouse, and on the just mirrored, exact mirror, you have the same thing, just the button-eyed version of all of them.
So do you want like the Bobinski rat to like
I
appear
do.
behind him?
I want Bobinski rat to kind of like, I'm imagining like, it's kind of gross, but like I'm imagining a bunch of rats kind of come in from all sides and just form up into
They crawl
the
from under. They
Bobinski.
crawl under everyone's feet, and everyone's and then it like forms behind her, and they're like, "Well, look at us, my family, and yours. The only thing different, buttons." And you're just like, ugh. I do like that. I do like at one point there is a scene that we have the mirrored looking at each other, and it could be cool because there's a second it's like, oh, it's like a family portrait, Mine, and they all pose and they all look adorable, and yours, and everyone on their side is exhausted, scraped up,
Furious.
real, but it's funny that because you know how family portraits are like, oh, your family's so cute. You should come on Thursday nights when we're all pissed off and angry at each other, you know? Like, do you want the Disney version or the Murray version? So there's the Disney, and then here's the Murray. So just something like that. Yeah, I think that would be cool to have the mirror be there head on, and I think that's a good point to have. But I just imagine other Coraline is always just faking, like, oh boy, look at our family's mine, and they all pose. Maybe we can even have a like a snap appear from somewhere, and like a rat's taking a picture, or a camera float like comes down on a spider web, flashes, and then goes back up, and yours, and they're just all miserable. Camera flashes, ah! They're just like, and the dad, do you think I look good in it, or something like that? Wifey's like, and then,
I
and
kind of want mom.
oh, mom, yeah, mom would.
to get my good
Do you think I look good in it? And the dad looks at her. Oh no, I think my glasses are weird. And Wybie's like, well, I'm worried about my hair. And Coraline's like, shh. Bobinski's like, I think my eyes were closed. Another Coraline looks at it. They were Mr. Bobinski. Dang it! And just something like that. So yeah, I think they'll be good.
Yeah, I think I like that, and I'm imagining the next trial begins with other mothers saying, "All right, it's a tie so far," and Coraline's like, "A tie? What do you mean?
Yeah, how is it a tie? I'm over here on the other side of the table going, huh?
Exactly. And other Coraline is like, well, you've succeeded so far, but I still have buttons.
Oh, you jerk.
And Coraline's like, you give her back now. I've won. Give her back. And the other is like, well, not yet. One more test. Which, and she snaps, buttons is yours.
Okay, so I imagine like a bassinet rolls toward her, not a bassinet, like a baby carriage rolls in, and she puts it in. Which one? And then is yours, and then
and there's just a ton of them. Yeah, I'm imagining that, and I'm imagining Coraline starts freaking out, like, well, shoot, I gotta find my baby again.
But since they all have their eyes closed, I imagine since they all have their eyes closed,
there's no
buttons, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah.
Ew. Yeah. Ew, it's one of those realistic, gross baby dolls that you see on the internet, and you're like, ew. Ew. And she's like, careful. You only get
one chance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so kind of a Spirited Away type game.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly like that. And so Coraline and everybody else starts looking, and then other mother snaps, and everybody else except Coraline and Wybie suddenly
just get yanked
back and say, nope, this is for the parents.
Oh, I imagine that because the bassinets happened, and all of a sudden she goes, oh, and everyone else can leave, and just kind of lets the voice go, and we see everyone get grabbed by their counterpart, and they've all transformed into the gross versions. So maybe during the picture part they all looked perfect, but then now they're the gross versions. We have the rat one. So imagine that when he formed the rats, they all turned into the perfect one, and he looks all good. But now it's just only the parents, and like pulls him in. And I imagine I think to be funny, I imagine the tall mother, the Beldam version of mother, grabs, come on, pumpkin, and grabs him by the nose like she does to Coraline, and Dad's like, ah! getting yanked away, and then Pumpkin Dad is picking up Mom.
Okay.
And it's just kind of different, but I just feel like it'd be funny with the couples grabbing onto
Uh-huh.
their other spouse. So
I like that.
only parents can make decisions. Like walks off with them. She goes, "Let me down, you stupid squash pumpkin."
I like it.
Something like that. And now they're all just sitting there. Another Wybie is just, and it's so unsettling. And she could even ask, like, "So what do you think, dear?" Another Wybie's like, he doesn't say a
Mhm.
word, but he's always just like smiles gently and like looks up. Oh man, other Wybie must be so conflicted because I just imagine it's
Mhm.
the you made me a flag, you witch,
Uh-huh.
just running through his head.
Made me a
I don't know,
flag. You
or is
made
so is
me.
it the same one? Is that because I
I'm
don't?
imagining it is. I'm imagining it is. Um,
Okay.
and what I'm
Oh.
so here's what I'm imagining
Okay.
is Coraline and Wybie are running around and they're going through every single one and they start piling together the ones that aren't
Because some are completely
buttons.
obvious.
Uh-huh.
Like no, no,
And
no,
it
no.
comes down to like three that they're like, it could be any of these three. And Wybie looks at Coraline and says, I don't think it's any of these. I think we missed it. I think we missed her. And he starts going back, and then the other Wybie steps forward, and the other Coraline's like, "Wait, what are you?" And the other Wybie turns, smacks the other Coraline, and starts walking forward. And from like, I'm imagining from like his coat pocket or something, Hagrid style, he pulls out the real buttons and hands it to Wybie, and says, take the real dolly, or something like that.
Oh no!
Your
Take the real
take the
doll.
real
Take the
dolly,
real
and then
dolly.
he does his thing.
Take the real dolly.
Hmm.
She needs her mom. And they're like, so oh
Uh,
oh.
if you haven't caught on, the name that I found that I think fits way better than buttons is Dolly. I I don't know. I just think it fits really really well, and it's not like I don't want the Beldam to have named her.
No, I think you're right. I think for other Wybie to
Hmm.
as he gives her back, like I imagine, other Coraline
Hmm.
after she picks the baby and goes, huh, just a doll. And then you see Wyborn with his arm around her, and it's revealed that he's holding her, takes his arm around her, walks up with the baby. She's like, what are you doing? And he like goes down, looks at her, and she's like, what are you here to gloat? And he goes, this is the real, like, says the line, take the,
Take care of.
here's the real Dolly. She's gonna
Yeah,
need her mom.
yeah,
And then
something
and
like that.
just says it, and it shocks all of us. He can talk. He found a voice enough to say it
Hmm.
because he was made to love that Coraline. I loved, if you watch the movie again, he throws the flower and
Hmm.
Coraline catches it and she like looks at it, and that just shows that YB was already attracted because Other Mother takes what she sees and really does make a good story because she says,
Hmm.
oh, your friend's at the door. You don't like that he talks. All right, well, I'm going to expound on that. But that YB did care for her, and it just showed that in his heart because he went and asked his grandma in the real world. He heard that it was bad, and he came back and found her and helped her in need. So
Yeah.
I think it makes sense for them to be a couple. I think it's adorable
Hmm.
for them to have a baby, and I think for other YB to find his voice and say, "Take the real Dolly. She needs her mom," is a great ending. And I think for the Beldam to accept that she is never going to love and will not find love in this life, I think it's better for her to move on
Hmm.
with the family all together. Once again, there's no one there. Coraline is turning pale, getting taller, and her hand falls off, the one that's been connected, like the power that's been holding them together. It hasn't been enough because she's had the scraps, but now that the baby's away from her and safely with her mom, because I've had a theory that when the parents are around, when adults are truly around and like with their kids, kids are safe. Mm-hmm. So now that she's away from the others and in the arms of her mother and father, that path it's cut off. Cut off. Other Coraline is freaking out. And I kind of want a little bit of mercy. And I want Coraline to hand the baby to Wybie. I want her to get close and goes, I'm sorry that the other world treated you wrong. I'm sorry that you didn't get the chance to love, and I'm sorry that whatever this place is turned you into whatever. But it's time, but this is not how to love, and you should know this. And I imagine that she picks up the cat and like the other mother freaks out, but she places the cat in her arms and the cat like nuzzles her. And the other mother just starts crying. Whew! And we kind of just see that she didn't hate the cat because of it being a cat. She hated the cat because it reminded her of what she used to be. And they have this like beautiful moment of her like holding the cat, and for a split second we see the beldam for what she used to look like, and her and the cat kind of just drift away in sand.
Okay.
I know that's kind of cheesy. I know it's kind of lame, but
I do kind of like it though.
But the thing is, the beldam came into the other world broken, angry, and wanting love. She tried so hard to love kids, and it ended up twisting her, and she slowly became more evil. I do like that she became so twisted with love and causing people pain. Like she, like after Coraline, she snapped and became evil and caused like the dementia in the older women. But the scraps works too. But I just want it to be like a goodbye. And her and the cat drift together, because many types of legends that when a familiar dies, or I mean when a witch dies, the familiar dies as well. So I imagine that once they've been reconnected. And I do want her to say like goodbye to the cat. Like it's like, I've had my fun. I've been so old. My 9 lives have been spent long ago. Like something lame like that. Mm-hmm. Then they disappear. And then slowly we just see this tunnel kind of appear, and they walk.
I'm imagining more they wake up.
Oh. They all wake up. Inception.
Yeah. And I'm imagining they all wake up, and the mouse, Bobinsky's mouse, is the only thing that tips them off that it was real.
How?
By telling Bobinsky that it's real.
He like comes downstairs, Coraline. I had
that, and the fact that they all had the same dream.
Yeah. Did you all have strange dream? Little mouse saw I had strange dream. I had strange dream. And he like starts rambling in Russian and like making gestures of like, and then there was other Bobinsky, goes in like in Russian, and then you had a button for eyes, and then like and they're like, yeah, it's fine. And everyone's kind of sitting down. And I really want Wybie to be the one that says, so what's the name of the baby? And Wybie looks up Dolly, because he heard it. Mm-hmm. Her name is Dolly. And it's just like, oh. And I imagine that when they say it, the baby does a cute little gurgle of like, she likes the name. The terrible baby name, terrible baby voice. It just turns into Muscle Man. Oh.
I think that's a good end. And then the end of the movie could be Coraline singing the same song as a lullaby to Dolly, and it says something to the effect of "Good night, Dolly, we love you." And
Oh.
then the movie ends
And it ends with her
with
putting the baby down,
putting the baby down, and
Coraline sitting down.
Coraline sits down next to Wybie, and they kind of just hug and snuggle. Like she puts her head on his shoulder, and
But it's the exact image of when Coraline used to
uh-huh.
go to bed.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's a really I think that's a good end for the movie. But
Well, yeah.
yeah, that's I really want to watch that movie now. I really want to watch
I
this.
will definitely say we'll work on the trials, and this will definitely be a movie we make a script for.
Hmm. If we get to that.
If we get to that, we need to get more supporters for that. But
Mhm.
I hope that we, to the best of our ability, made a decent sequel that Neil Gaiman would be proud of.
I
Again,
hope
this is
so.
not the book, this is the movie. There were liberties taken.
The book is a lot darker. A
It is.
lot darker.
And again, I had a lot of different. I did not have the Beldam be my protagonist, but Tim and I talked, and the Beldam coming back for Coraline's child and trying to replace her to me just felt too. That was just too.
Coraline.
It was too Coraline. It felt so good.
Uh-huh.
And I do wish that the Beldam recognizing that, finally recognizing that she will not get love, she will never be loved again, and that this world was just too cruel for her and it turned her cruel.
Mm-hmm.
It was time for her to go. I like that ending for the Beldam. It might be cheesy, it might be what you all want, but that's how I just imagine it. I feel like what was left at the end of the first movie was so spiteful that it would survive and wait and waited and waited. And the second Coraline brought a baby into the world, that's when she would spring a trap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it makes sense to me. And that's why I think this movie would be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Willem and I had a lot of fun coming up with this, thinking about this. We've been thinking about this one for a while.
And I'm sorry that it wasn't perfect. I'm sorry that the trials, again, these are pitch meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Tim could have had multiple one of these, but we wanted you guys to be a part of this. And we do want to show that it isn't as easy as we thought. It is not easy. But I do believe that if you gave me and Tim a solid day and with a few more people and sat down and worked on this we could make a sequel worthy of Leica Studios. And I
And that's
think
the same with all of our pitches. We get enough of us, and enough time dedicated for it. We could make a perfect movie for a lot of things.
but I think the general feel, the general outline, the fear, the idea of Coraline, instead of it being a child fearing for their own life, it is a parent's feeling for their child. Because Coraline, again, would be around my age. Many people my age have children, very young children. Many of them have infants. And I think this would just be very relatable to all the people who grew up watching Coraline. The movies should grow up with us. And since it's been 15 years, it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tim, any final thoughts?
Just that we love you guys, and we appreciate you guys listening and supporting us. This is a lot of fun. We enjoy this a lot, and the fact that we have people that actually listen to two idiots talking about a movie makes it worth it.
It definitely does.
So again, if you have comments, please email us, make a comment on Facebook or on Instagram, whatever.
We'd love to hear from you guys. We want to hear from you guys. We really do
Yeah.
want to grow a community with all you weird pitches. So it'll
the
be
first the first comment, and I'm gonna try to incentivize this. I think the first comment that we get, we will read during the next episode.
great. The first idea
Mhm.
that we are given from someone outside of our circle that comments on it, outside source, will become an episode.
Yeah.
So, first person to email us, comment an idea in any way, we will make that an episode. So, there's your incentive. And until next time it will be past Halloween. So, everyone be safe, enjoy your spooky time, and we
don't get diabetes
don't
from
get
eating too much
diabetes.
candy. It's not worth it.
But happy Halloween, everyone. And with that being said, we thank you, everyone, and we will see you later, Pidges.